Is this a problem for you? Let me show you how you can take care of that. Alright, welcome. It's a little cold this morning. So the first thing you're gonna need is one of these. Mine's a bit used. This is a scissor trap. Looks just like this. Comes with two of these. These are the setting tools. We're definitely gonna need these. Make sure you don't lose them. Alright, so first we'll go over kind of what this is and how you use it. First off, it is a kill trap, so it's a lot like a snap trap for rats. It's an instant death. These jaws break the spinal cord of the mole. Okay, so I mean, it's very humane. I know it sounds nasty, but I mean, the thing is dead before it even realizes it had an accident. So it's just blinked out of existence. It's much, especially for moles, there's no real way to live trap a mole. I'm sure you can find them on YouTube, but moles will die in a matter of hours, if that. If they're just trapped in a bucket or if they're trapped some way, like they constantly need to be eating and gaining nutrients. Their metabolism is off the charts. They have to eat about their own body weight every day. Obviously, moles vary from area to area, and I'm getting pretty general, but you get the idea. So anyway, scissor trap. To set the scissor trap, you're gonna have it sitting like this. This thing right here is the trigger plate, it's called, which would be this. This is what actually is going to set the trap off. Here's the pin that's going to be holding it. And of course you got the jaws. This is the safety. I'll show you how to use it. So to set it, first you make sure that this is over the top. And you take your setting tools, and they have the little curved sections. They go right on top of the spring. One this way, one this way. As you can see, that's right through the middle. And then you clamp them together. So once you're holding them together, that opens up the jaws. Obviously, there's a bit of a risk here. Don't put your fingers in here. It will break them bitches off. So now you have this little tool and our trigger plate. The trigger plate has this little notch in it that this is going to sit in just like that. Once it's like that, you can slowly start releasing these until they catch. And you have a set trap. This is where you can use the safety. If this flips over the top like that, boom, the trap is safe at this point. Even if this trigger plate is hit, the trap will not go off because this will catch it. But I want to show you what the trap does when it does go off. So we'll take the safety off. It's a little rusty. And the way the trap works is the mole has a tunnel going through the ground. We'll say it's coming this way. We're going to be setting this trap right down in the hole so that the mole, show you this, has to go through the jaws right to this point, and then we're going to make a little something called a bridge in the hole. I'll show you how to do that so that when the mole comes through here, it's going to start tunneling through our little bridge. It's going to hit that trigger plate. I'm gonna do this on the ground. I thought maybe a glass table might not be a good idea. So when the mole comes through here, hits the trigger plate, and bam! Like I said, very dead mole. So now that we know how to use the trap, and like I said, obviously, when these two things are apart is when the trap comes off. So when the safety is over the top, it holds these two together, and that's how it keeps it from going off. So, now that we know how to use our trap, we got our molehill nice and close. As you can tell, I don't have a lot of activity in my yard. I kind of keep up on it. Some of you might have like holes just everywhere. You think, oh my god, I must have like 100 moles. Most likely it's just one mole. One mole doing all that damage. They're fiercely territorial. Like I said earlier, they have a metabolism that's through the roof, man. They can't share their food supply with any other moles. So usually you only have one mole. The only exception would be right at mating time. It's the only time that obviously they get together and they mate, and then they have the babies. But the mom will kick the babies out pretty quick. Like, go find your own place. So it's very little bit of time of the year, and of course that's only in the spring when they're mating, that you're gonna have more than one mole, but usually it's just the one. So I have a pretty obvious one right here. This is where I'm gonna be setting my trap. If you have like a big yard and you have lots and lots of molehills everywhere, you know what? I'm gonna draw you a picture to show you the best place to set your traps. All right, borrowed some paper and markers from my son to do this. All right, so let's say let's say this is the house, right? And this is a sidewalk. All right, so you got house, and you got a sidewalk, and then all this is yard, just kind of like we have back here. And then let's say you got like a whole bunch of mounds over here, just going crazy. You got another bunch of them over here, and then you know, maybe you got like a whole other group of them here. And you got like one here, and maybe one over here by the house, maybe one over here by the sidewalk. You know, so let's say you got some crazy activity like that going on in your yard. Now what you have, switch colors here. Now these big groups here are what we call feeding grounds. So this is where the mole, this is where it's eating. Now you might think that that's a really good place to set a trap. It is not. It's a horrible place to set a trap. So what these are is, this is where the mole is just creating these crazy just tunnels that are just going everywhere. And then it just cruises through those tunnels and picks up all the little beetles and bugs, and especially worms. That they love worms. They just cruise through and pick those things up and eat them as they're going, man. Like I said, big metabolism. They're eating, they're going, they're just going crazy. The thing with these is that they're usually shallower tunnels. They might not ever travel through them again. They might just pick this area clean and then just move on to another one. So what you want to look for are these ones, because you have all these tunnels going crazy, then they'll have one tunnel going here, and all these tunnels going crazy and one tunnel going here, all these tunnels and then one tunnel going here, and then one tunnel going here, you know, and then maybe this one, you know. So you got, their tunnels are just crazy. But these ones, these mounds that are just by themselves, kind of, maybe there'll be one, you know, maybe there'll be another one kind of here in a little line, and then another one there. These are the ones you want, those main tunnels that connect all these feeding grounds together. Another great place is these ones here along the edges, because moles can't see where they're going, they're underground. So they like to use sidewalks or houses or like the edges of gardens, any edge, anything that they can just run into and then follow. They will do it. So you want to look for these ones and these ones. Those are going to be the great places to set your traps. Another way to figure out where you might want to set traps is to just go outside and just stomp down all the molehills. Just put a big footprint in them, and then check them the next day. And all the ones that pop up, just keep doing it. And pretty soon you'll get a very good idea of which ones keep popping back up. Those are the main ones, the ones that the moles just keep going towards. Those are the ones you want to set your traps in. So now that we know how to set our trap and we know how to find where to set our trap, let's go actually set our trap. Alright, here we are. Set our trap off to the side. Here we are at our hill, the one we've designated that we want to use. So what we're going to do is just brush this dirt off to the side and find the hole. I like to just use the setting tools. Bam, done it right away. So usually it'll be kind of easy to figure out where it is. So here's the hole going straight down. Now we're going to open it up a little bit, not too much. Basically just about the size of the trap. You don't want to have a huge, giant, gaping hole. If there's too much air exposed, when the mole's traveling through these tunnels, man, it's not going to go through there. They don't like to come up out of the ground. They like to be under the ground. So if they're coming through and they sense all this air and all this fresh air, and they're not going to want to go there. So they like it to be nice and moist and cool and dark. So there we go. Got my hole set up just about the size. I can go ahead and use the trap. Be sure the safety's on so you don't hurt yourself. And obviously, even with the safety on, don't go sticking your fingers through here. Just don't. Also, when this thing goes off, this bar kicks up and over. So when you're messing around with it, even if your hands are not in here, you're thinking, I don't even need the safety. If it goes off, it won't hurt me. This thing is gonna flip around and hit the back of your hand. Trust me, it's gonna hurt. All right, so you take this, and you can kind of fit it like, okay, I need a little bit more room. And now I have these super dirty hands. I'll try to show you what I'm talking about. This fits nice right into the hole. Boom. The hole is not much bigger than the trap itself. Go ahead and show you. You can see the trap just fits in there perfect and nice. Here's the hole. The tunnel's going that way, and that way. So we take this and just drop it straight in like that. And now I'm gonna kind of push it in a little bit, bring it back out, and I can kind of see that the marks that it left. So I know right where the jaws are gonna go, right here and right here. So I wanna build my bridge right in the middle of that. And I'm basically gonna cut my hole right in half with the bridge. Alright, switch colors again. So this is kind of how we have the trap set up, right? Here's the trap, the scissors, there's the spring, the trigger plate. So this would be the tunnel, you know, all this is where the mold's gonna come through. And up here is just the sky, there's the sun, the mountains, just the clouds. Okay, so here's the tunnel, and here's the mold that's gonna be coming through. Let's say it's going this way. You want them to slip right through, and then right here is where we're gonna build our bridge. The bridge is just gonna be this mound of dirt, just like this, that the trigger plate is going to be sitting right on top of. So if this little green thing is the mound of dirt, let me make sure you can see this. Alright, sorry for my horrible drawing, but this is the bridge. So that when the mole comes through this way, he's gonna hit this bridge and have to try to tunnel through it. He's gonna try to dig like what? And that's gonna push this up, push the trigger plate up, and he's gonna be in the perfect position because his body will be sitting right here for a perfect position for the scissor trap to do exactly what it's supposed to do. And that is the function of the bridge. Without it, your mole could just zip right underneath your trap without even setting it off. So when it comes to the bridge, you want to make sure that it's packed, not too tight. You don't want to use anything like rocks, just the dirt. Pack it nice and tight. If the soil is really soft, you can do things like put like an aluminum can lid on top of it, right underneath the trigger plate, or like a quarter, or just something like that to kind of give it a nice strong base to sit under, so that way when the mole digs under it, it has something to kind of trigger that. If you have like really loose soil that doesn't pack well. I have like perfect soil up here in the northwest of America, so I'll be able to do it just fine. And yeah, that's the function of the bridge. The bridge is actually very important. Without it, good bridges just lead to good catches each time. It sets the mole up perfectly to where you're going to catch it just in the right spot every time, right on the spinal cord, and it just makes sure that you're not going to get like a misfire, or the thing's not just going to pass right underneath the trigger plate. Something else real quick, something else you can do that you may notice that I have done is my trigger plate has this little bend in it. That is not how they come. This plate, usually when you buy it, comes perfectly straight. I added that. That way when it sits just a little bit lower. I think you'll kind of know what I mean when I set the trap. Trigger plate down there. I have it like that just so it sits like a little bit lower, but not too low. So I have this set, might as well flip the safety on, go back over to the hole, figure this out. So I just take the dirt that's kind of already down there and just start stacking it up and making the bridge. Like I said, it's very important. Make sure it's packed. I mean, not super tight. You don't want to, you know, you want the mole to dig through it, but not to be too much of a chore. And make sure it's got nice, steep, sudden walls. You don't want like a sloping hill that the mole's just gonna climb up and over. You want it to just hit a wall and just hit it and just start digging through it, because they're used to hitting a lot of their own debris, especially around where they've excavated all the dirt out of it. So I have that. I'm gonna set this in here and see if that trigger plate rests right. I want it to rest right on top of my bridge. Yeah, actually, I need to move my bridge over a little. You also want to make sure you don't have any roots or rocks, big ass rocks, like I do have one. I'm gonna go ahead and dig that out. See that rock right here? This could have messed everything up. If it gets stuck in the jaws, it will allow the jaws to not close all the way, and my mole will get away. So get rid of rocks. Make sure there's, you know, cut little pieces of roots or anything like that that might get in the way. So there I have my bridge. You can see it just cuts, so when the mole comes through, he's gonna hit that and have to try to burrow right through it. Set this right here on top of it. Make sure the trigger plate is resting ever so gently on top of the bridge. That means I need to make my bridge just a little bit taller. Like I said, if you need to take your time on this stuff, take your time. Don't rush it. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. That's perfect. Just like that. So that's how you should look. Your spring should be just about even with the rest of the ground. Not a lot of extra space on the sides or anywhere. Then what you do is you just take this nice loose dirt here and just sprinkle that over the top. Make it seem like to the mole nothing suspicious is going on here. Just normal everyday stuff. Just normal. So you kind of fill it in. Like I said, fill it up to the spring. Make sure you can kind of still see the spring there a little bit. But just like that, all you should have is these two little horseshoe things sticking up. Alright, that's it. There's the trap. All set, all ready to go. As you can see, I just put the rest of the dirt off to the side like that. Be sure to take the safety off once you're done. You don't want to leave that on and possibly miss the catch. And also, be sure to pick up your setting tools and put those babies somewhere where you will not forget them. It happens all the time. I always just leave them out after I'm done. Put them away. Take right now, you go put them away somewhere. But that's it. Just leave the trap just like that. To come check it, you just come look at it, and when these two pieces are apart, oops, make sure you see, when these two pieces are apart, you'll know that the trap has been set off. When they're together, everything is still fine. If you need to move the trap for whatever reason, you can just gently step on the top of it, push it down a little bit. That will set it off. It won't hurt you or anything. It's just going to set it off in the ground, because the dangerous part's in the ground now. And then you can pick it up and move it. Don't just try to pick it up out of the ground like this and carry it around like it's going to snap. Something could happen. If you have kids, dogs, or animals, you can put a flower pot over the top of that with like a rock or something that kind of help keep people out. But otherwise, it should be fine. Like I said, the dangerous part's in the ground, so you can't really get hurt by it. But that's it. If you have more traps, you can always set more traps. I only ever set one. I always catch my mole. I've caught half a dozen moles, I think, with this one trap in the 3 years we've lived here. So, you know, that's it. Unfortunately, there's no way to prevent getting moles. I know a lot of people are like, how do I just not get them in the first place? There's no way. When we do catch this guy, what I'm going to do is just bury that carcass right back in the ground, right there, because moles they go on scent. So I want to keep that scent in the tunnel system as long as possible, because another mole is going to come in, smell it, say, hey, there's another mole here, and leave.
Because unfortunately, once you have moles, you have all that work's already done, all those tunnels are dug, you're just much more prone to getting moles again in the future. Animals just attract animals. And there's nothing you can do to collapse all those tunnels under the ground and to keep moles from coming. Unless you're gonna build a giant wall that goes 10 feet deep around your whole property, there's just nothing you can do. So you just keep catching them. This is the best way to do it. I know they have other types of traps and poisons. Never use poisons. I never use poison. Poison's bad. Too many things can go wrong. Other traps get too finicky. These are the best traps, man. It's just a straight up scissor trap. It's just like I said, it's a snap trap for a rat. It's simple and it works. So good luck. I hope you catch your mole. I'm just gonna post this right away. So I'm not gonna wait to catch this one to show you a caught mole. But if you subscribe to my channel, you'll see it. It'll happen. I guarantee it. It won't take long. I usually don't miss. That should work for you. If for some reason it doesn't, just reset it. I wouldn't move the trap too much. If you don't get a hit right away, don't move the trap. You know, maybe wait a week or two before you start moving them around. The more you move it, the more you're just going to freak the mole out, and the more timid it's going to get, and the harder it's going to get to catch it. So just leave it there, and hopefully it'll work.